What's up, guys? Good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. This is a post-match reaction. I'm gonna call this a cold match reaction. Immediately after the game, we're all hyped up. It's harder to get into the details, the tactical insights of the game. Because the game ended literally minutes before I did the match reaction. These match reactions are more useful because I rewatched some parts of the game. I rewatched the highlights. I rewatched movements of key players, and I do want to bring this new. I want to call this. What do we want to call this? The zoom into. I'd call this a zoom into. New form of content after match reactions where we delve deeper into the tactical insights of every game. I'm not gonna promise this for every game. You know me. I'm exploiting my holidays and my free time to bring as much content as possible. But in a few weeks, I do restart university. So it's going to be harder to just throw out content after content. So I'm not going to promise this style of video, this deeper tactical insight and analysis for every game. But I am going to try and do it for the majority of games this season. I am extremely happy. I've repeated this so many times over the past 24 hours, even less, because I was convinced by yesterday's performance. And when you match 3 points with a convincing performance, you know that the fans are happy. When, at the end of the game, the manager goes out there in front of the microphones in his post-match interviews and says, especially somebody like Gasperini, who is so hard to accommodate. You know, it's very hard to see Gasperini go out there and go, I liked today's performance. I loved the boys today and how they play. It's not easy, and it's not going to happen many times that we see Gasperini do this. He's a very decisive manager, and I think it's good because he always gets the best out of his players. So when the manager goes out there and says that he liked everything about yesterday's performance, you know that it was a good performance. And a very enthusiastic Roma, enthusiastic players. There's a lot of work to do, guys. There's work to do on and off the pitch. We're not perfect. We can't be perfect after one game. We won't be perfect after 2 games. We won't be perfect after a month. And I'll dare to say that we won't be perfect after 1 year. It's a continuous work in progress. It's a continuous evolution. There's work to do on and off the pitch. I'm looking at the transfer window. There's work to do there. We need a left winger. Leave Sancho alone. I've never seen a more toxic transfer relationship than ours and Sancho. He clearly doesn't want to join. Move on. We've wasted about 10 days trying to search him, trying to convince him. If he doesn't want to come, we don't need to convince him. He is no Cristiano Ronaldo. He is no Lionel Messi. Leave him to rot, and you'll end up in Saudi Arabia earlier than what he thinks. Move on. Get a left winger. Get another midfielder. Add depth. Add rhythm. And add diversification. I think that's another big thing that we must try and add in these last 7 days of the transfer window. Let's get into this, right? The concepts which I've repeated a lot, but the concepts which I liked the best out of yesterday's game was the asphyxiation. You know, it's this. I love this. I love that even if it's the 93rd minute, the players press. I love how, we're going to get into this in a second, there's an overall pressing net movement. These are things that I, personally speaking, was not expecting these players to pull out after 1 game. I was not. I'm going to put my hand on my heart and be honest. I think I was not expecting the players to have this initial physical condition after 1 game. Now, be careful, because it might be the first opening game of the season hype. I would be very surprised, I genuinely mean this, I would be very, very, very surprised if for the next 5 games we were to play with the same intensity as this first game, I would be very surprised, because it really does mean that Gasperini has drugged these players. I'm saying this because these players are not used to running this much. So to see them press, asphyxiate, run, even at the 93rd minute, to me it's something that I've never seen before. And you can probably understand that it's quite surprising. And it's why I was so convinced and happily surprised by yesterday's game. You know, this concept of, again, asphyxiating, wanting them to press so high, getting them high and forcing their mistakes on an area of the pitch which can lead to goals, okay? So, yeah, they were decisive, they were aggressive, but I think, you know, sometimes people tend to confuse the word being aggressive and the word being convinced. You can be aggressive, you know, you can show that you're aggressive, but I think in order for the aggressiveness to work perfectly, you need to be convinced about it. And that is what I liked about yesterday's game. Players were convinced of what they were doing. Players, you can tell that these players are convinced in moving closer to this football identity. They want to do this. They're all set on it, and they're all concentrated on achieving the results on how the manager asks them to work. Because you can be aggressive can mean many things. Aggressive isn't always a good thing. I'll be honest. Being an aggressive player or being an aggressive team doesn't always mean that you're a great team and that you're playing great football. Because being aggressive can mean that you're so aggressive that it's a good thing, but you commit so many fouls. With being aggressive, you need to match being convinced. At the base of aggressiveness, there needs to be a willingness of knowing what to do, being convinced on what you're doing, being convinced about the tools you have. And that is what I loved. This belief of your identity, this belief in achieving your identity is what is working well. And it's something that, you know, this word identity, you can already see the Gasperini identity. It's early, it needs to improve, it's not perfect. But if there's one thing that I can say, is that we have an identity and we want to bring this identity forward. We've had this identity ever since we started game week 1 in pre-season. Even when we lost 4-0 to Villa, there was an identity. And I watched that game. And we got absolutely destroyed. We got destroyed in that game at Villa Park against Villa. We got absolutely annihilated. But there was one thing that we got out of that game. It's that we lost 4-0, but we stuck with our identity. And you see, that's where you know that the players are convinced in the tools that they currently have. So, I'm going to move on to individual players. I don't have time to speak about everyone because otherwise it would take me hours. But I have jotted down the most important players that I think are worth analysing coming from yesterday's game. First player, Hermoso. I want to open a big parenthesis on Hermoso. I really do. Because I'm an honest guy. You know me, I'm an honest guy. I'm not scared to say where I was wrong. I'm not scared to say where I was right. I like bragging at times, but I don't consider myself a boasty guy one bit. But that's who I am. I'm an honest guy. I was never convinced about Hermoso. Never. I was willing to let him go this summer. I was willing to let him go last summer. Last summer he joined in January. I never found a player who came to Rome concentrated enough to be that leader that he was at Atletico Madrid. Yesterday's game, it's only one game, but yesterday's game proved me completely wrong and made me look like an idiot. If that is Hermoso, now if, always use the word if with Hermoso, because he can match a world-class performance with a fucking stupid game. So I would be careful. I'm not going to say that I'm going to look like a complete idiot 100% up to now, because it's only one game and he needs to do this consistently in order for me to say to myself that I looked like an idiot. But yesterday, He was one of the best players on the pitch. Solid, precise, calm. You can tell that he's somebody that has played at high stages at Atletico Madrid. But you can tell also that he never really distributed that experience to us because he never played that well. Yesterday was his best game with us. Why did he play a great game? He's left-footed. And if you paid attention yesterday, he played on the right. Now, if you've played football, you know that there is no more complicated thing than playing on the wrong side of your strong foot. If you've played football at high levels, I didn't play football at high levels. I've played football, however, I've played tournaments, I've won tournaments, I've lost tournaments with my school. I used to play football in an academy when I was younger, then I stopped. I've played football. I'm not the best, but I've played football. I'm not the best, I'm really not. But I've played football. And there is no more complicated thing, and you can confirm this because I know everyone has the same answer here. There is no more annoying thing than playing on the wrong side of your strongest foot. Hermoso's left-footed, he played on the right-hand side yesterday. There's no more annoying thing in football. And there is no more harder thing in football, especially if you're a defender. Because it's so easy to fumble it up. Because your weak foot is your predominant foot on the other side of the pitch, which you're not used to. It's easier to make mistakes in the build-up. And for a manager like Gasperini, who focuses so much on the build-up play, it can be an issue. And we know this very well because Ibanez is the opposite. Ibanez was a right-footed who played on the left. Ibanez was a right-footed who played on the left. How many times did he fumble it up? We know it very well because he made us lose about 3 derbies when he was there. It's so hard to play, especially if you're a defender, on the wrong side of your feet, on the wrong side of your strong, on the opposite side of your most confident side. And yesterday he played a great game on the other side than what he's used to because he normally plays where Ndika plays. Okay, that's why he played a great game. Focusing on the defense, Mancini. I mentioned this yesterday in the match reaction. Mancini has got this Bastoni tendency. It's natural. He does this. He's done it every time, and he's going to do it so much with Gasperini because he wants him to do this. I always say this. You've got 3 defenders. Mancini yesterday played central. No, sorry, Mancini. Yes, Mancini yesterday played central. He detaches from his other 2 and goes forward. Adds numbers, adds heights, and adds transition, and adds a build-up. And I think that's something that Mancini loves to do because him and Bastoni do this very similar thing of detaching, unleashing themselves from the back 3, moving forward, leaving the 3 behind by themselves, tracking back down. Which is why yesterday he ran so much. Probably one of the players which ran the most yesterday because of this constant movement, going up, going down, which Gasperini stresses and emphasizes a lot. Again, all of these movements, Mancini going up, Hermoso playing on the different side, Soulé playing wide and tracking back, El Shaarawy playing wide and tracking back, Cristante, again, people don't stress his performance yesterday. I don't think it was an amazing performance, but he does the dirty work. With all of these movements, what I love yesterday is it's the fact that we moved with many interchanges, players changing, moving, net movement. This, again, I repeat the same things, but they are the base of how Gasperini wants to play. He wants a net movement of players and a net movement of players pressing. Okay. Other player that I want to focus on is Koné. Koné, part of me is glad that he missed that goal yesterday because if Koné starts bagging goals to the performances that he currently has, we'll see him starting in Real Madrid's midfield next summer, and I'm not even exaggerating. So part of me is happy that sometimes Koné ends up having 2 left feet or 2 triangular feet, because sometimes I realize that Koné with proper feet would probably be starting in Real Madrid's midfield today, and he wouldn't be playing for us. The only reason he's still at Roma is because he can still improve on his finishing by a mile, and his his numbers still aren't perfect. If Koné starts matching the performance that he did yesterday, he was my man of the match because now in modern football you need to be dominant, and there is no other solution. If you want to win football games in football, in modern days, you have to be dominant. You have to have lungs made of steel. You need to have this ability of changing the rhythm of the game with a few steps, with or without the ball, running into space. The Koné is a beast. Like, Koné is a beast, and to think that Inter were only going to offer 40 million makes me want to throw up. Why am I saying that I'm happy that I'm not happy that he missed that goal. It's just me being ironic. Because if Koné starts scoring goals, if Koné starts matching the performances that he currently has with goals, we'll see him fly away in a few months. That's my issue. So the one thing that Koné needs to improve on, but I don't even think he needs to improve this because he's not there to do this. He can do this and he can add this ability, but he's not there to score goals. That's not what Koné does. Koné is a Yaya Toure player. If, however, he starts adding goals, he can be one of the best midfielders out there. He really can. Phil says you're overhyping Koné. I am not overhyping Koné. You are not understanding the importance of Koné, mate. Just because he missed a sitter yesterday doesn't mean that I'm overhyping Koné. Do we realize how he played yesterday? Did we sit down on that sofa for 90 minutes and looked at the game yesterday? Then, because I think if you watched the game yesterday, you wouldn't be writing that comment. Koné is the best player in our team. Like, Koné is the most important piece of this mechanism. So to say that I'm hyping Koné is a heresy to me. It really is a heresy to me. He doesn't have this offensive projection, but if he improves on that, he can be one of the best out there. Oh yeah, then a few words on Wesley. Wesley reminds me of Saud. I don't know why. Maybe it's the fact that he scored a similar goal to Saud. Maybe it's the approach that the fans had to Wesley's goal. Also because Wesley reminds me of Saud in a sense that his feet are scary in a bad way. In a bad way. His feet are like he really has got two left feet. He's got hexagonal feet. He is technically probably one of the worst players that we have. But it's the courage that he puts and the push that he has that is what makes him up to now a player which can change your games. Because realistically speaking, hadn't he scored yesterday's game and hadn't he pressed the way he pressed in the last 10 minutes of the game, he didn't have a good game. Let's be honest. He missed a lot of passes. He's not precise. He's not technical. He really isn't. He's like the opposite of technical. He's a dirty player in a sense that him hitting the ball with his front of the foot can be easily compared to him hitting the ball with the back of his foot. But it's this courage that he has. It's this ability that he has of having the ball, giving the ball to somebody, and then running into space. That is what, up to now, it's only one game of course, makes him different to Çelik, Karsdorp, Saud, and Christensen a few years ago. Because they didn't add that speed, that intensity, you know. But what did I say in the match preview? He needs an atmosphere around him in order to perform. Because he gets gassed, he gets hyped up. And then he'll perform even better. Soulé was a bit shy, confused yesterday. I think it's interesting because Soulé performs way better away from home, and it's not a surprise, it's not a coincidence. I think at home, due to the fact that he's playing in front of 70,000 fans, he feels this need of doing that skill that can make the fans and all of the 70,000 fans around him go, whoa, you know. It's not a coincidence that the best games that Soulé played, apart from the derby last season, which technically was an away game, have all been, in fact, yeah, it was an away game, have all been away games. I don't think it's a surprise, because I think at home he feels this urgency of wanting to create that skill or that play or that shot that can leave the fans flabbergasted, and that pressure of doing so that he doesn't have away, you know? Yeah, he wasn't the best yesterday, but he didn't play bad. Last but not least, Ferguson, and then I'm going to end it. He's clean. He stops, he goes, he turns around. I think we've all been surprised by yesterday's performance from Ferguson, because we played a season with a striker which couldn't do 1% of what Ferguson did yesterday. Yeah, I think we were all kind of surprised by Ferguson yesterday, because he did things that our previous striker that we were used to simply can't do. I repeat this every time, but Dovbyk can't do half of the things Ferguson does. He can't. If Dovbyk tries to turn around like Ferguson did multiple times in the first 20 minutes yesterday, he'd fall on the floor. He's not able to do it. He's not agile enough. Dovbyk has his characteristics. It's not setting the play like he does. It's not setting the play like Ferguson does. It's not turning around and, you know, passing the ball with intern of your foot, external. He can't do these things. He can't. So to have a striker which can help the team, can link up with other players and help with the build-up is completely different. You know what Ferguson reminded me of yesterday? In terms of comparing him to somebody that has played in the Serie A before? Zirkzee. Yesterday, Ferguson played exactly like Zirkzee did that season where he outperformed and overperformed with Bologna. Exactly like that. Dropping down and then going up. Dropping down, getting the ball, chest back towards the goal, chest towards the team, making yourself available, and then having the ability to turn around and set the play, pass the ball, long pass, run in the middle. That cross that he gave to Koné, which then missed the sitter. He's a playmaker. He's a Harry Kane type striker. You know, he's a striker that scores goals, hopefully. He missed a few yesterday, could have scored a few. But he comes down to set the play and help the team. That's what I think we loved from Fergie yesterday. Fergie is elder with more muscle. I agree, and he's also an elder with better feet. Like, come on. I loved Elder, but Elder wasn't technically gifted. Ferguson is so much more technically gifted. You can tell by the confidence that he has when he does certain things that he's a technical striker. We need somebody who scores goals, of course, but he's a technical striker 100%. Right, guys, I'm going to end it because I'm going to go out for dinner. So, thank you, mate, for the super chat. Thank you very much, Marble Cultures, for the $2. Love it, mate. Wesley also reminds me of Saud, says, Owithu. I want to see Bailey out for 4 weeks, back for the Verona game, apparently. Lazio losing 2-0. Always love when Lazio lose, indeed. Right, I'm going to end it. If you liked this analysis, agree with it, disagree with me, let me know in the comments what you think. If we can get 200 likes on this video, am I asking too much? No, I'm not. We got 200 likes in the match reaction. Let's double it again. 200 likes on this one. If you loved the debut, if you loved Roma back, if you loved Gasperini's debut, Gasperini's celebration at the end, and most importantly, the first 3 points of many, hopefully, of the season. Love you all. Take care. Enjoy your Sunday, and speak to you soon. Simo out.